Hello YouTube, Sharps 1874 here, and today I want to take a close-up look at one of my favorite rifles, which is my Enfield. This is a number 4 Mark II, and I'll get into a little bit about what makes it a Mark II versus a Mark I in just a bit. But when I got this, it was coated in cosmoline, and that beautiful brass buttstock was not beautiful, but it shined up really nicely. And so we're going to take a close-up look at this Enfield. Look at how well protected that front sight is. Look at the brass rivets. Brass there. Okay, so I'm going to readjust the camera and we're going to talk about what makes the Enfield an Enfield. Okay, obviously this is not an Enfield, this is a Springfield 1903 A3. And the reason I'm showing this is it's important to know the difference between cock on open and cock on close. So this rifle, the 1903 A3, is a cock on open. So that means that the firing pin will be put into the cocked position. See how that's moving? When you lift up the bolt. So this is now cocked. You close the bolt. It's still in the cocked position. If you want to uncock it, you can hold it back, and now it's uncocked. And again, when you lift up the bolt, it cocks the rifle. Okay, let's look at the Enfield. When you lift up the handle, notice the firing pin stays put. It doesn't move. When you bring it back, now when you push it forward, now it's in the cocked position. So this is cocked on close. To press the trigger, it just goes back into the uncocked position. It's still uncocked. Right here, the bolt has now hit the sear, and you cock the rifle. Okay. So the Enfield is a cock on close 303 rifle. Let's take a look at some more features. Okay, to remove the bolt, this is something that's different between the Mark I and the Mark II on the number 4. On the Mark I, this part of the bolt was able to be moved manually because it has to be in a vertical position for it to extract. So the way this comes out, you move the sight out of the way. And normally this would be in the up position, you could extract it. To pull this out now, you have to depress this little clip right here. Because if you notice, this is riding, there's a groove in this piece, it's riding on a track right here. I need a pointer. You can just see where the groove is right there. And then here's the track. So you've got to depress this. Here's that groove I was talking about right there. This lifts up and the bolt comes out. But on the Mark I, you could bring it down into this position, lift this up, and pull the bolt straight back. Okay. All right. Okay, moved around to the other side of the rifle. Here's the safety. So I've brought the bolt up. I'm going to extract it now, because I want to show on the bolt, this is why it does cock on close. This is where the sear hits, and when it comes up, the bolt, when it closes, it comes up, hits the sear. You continue to push the bolt forward, and the spring in here will cock it. Now, you notice there are two little notches right here. That's for the safety. And the safety, of course, is right here. And if you bring this around a little bit. If you notice, there's a little pin right here that is about the same shape as these two notches. So what happens, so there are the two notches. When you close the bolt and cock it and bring the safety back, that pin has now gone into that slot on the bolt and prevents the firing pin from moving forward. And that same, now we've moved it into the uncocked position. Remember, there were two slots there. The safety can go on right there, and that goes into the second slot, the rear slot, and prevents the bolt or the firing pin from moving. Okay, let's keep on going around. Okay, there is the rear sight, and you see that there is an elevation adjustment right there, shining a light on it just so you can, it's hard to see the graduations without doing so. And then it's just flip down and you see that there's a peep sight. And here's the front sight. It's pinned in place. It can be removed and adjusted for windage with a special tool. That's not something I have. So this has a 10-round magazine, and the bullets just push in place with your thumb, or you can use the charging slot right there. It does have 5-round charging clips, but this does hold 10. And interestingly enough, the prescribed method for extracting the bullets, once they're in the magazine, you can't obviously take the magazine out, or you just push it part of the way in. And you can extract all the bullets. Okay, we'll just take a little flyby. That's the only stamp that I know of. Got the brass butt plate. And there, right here, is the bayonet lug. Let's put the bayonet on so you can see what that looks like. Okay, here's a this is a number 9 Mark I bayonet. And right here is a little spring-loaded, I'm not sure what to call that, but when you put this on, it locks into place, and you have to depress that button, I suppose, in order to get it to move. Let's see if we can see that down in here. No, I don't think we're going to see. Well, yeah, you can just see it moves out of the way. Goes on like that. Push it in. There's some spring tension. Click it, and it's ready to go. Push the button. Turn it to the side. And there's our Enfield bayonet. This is the magazine release for the 10-round magazine, and it is relatively stiff, at least this one is. Give it a good push, and then the 10-round mag comes out. So you could load it with a full magazine, or you could use the strippers to push into the magazine. There's a little slot back here. Locks into place. Okay, one more thing that makes the Enfield a little unique is where they've got the locking lugs on the bolt. So here's the bolt. Here's you got the extractor. And this is that piece that rotates, and we showed you the slot. But this is not the locking lug. Often on a bolt action rifle, the locking lug is up front. The locking lugs are here and here. So here's that. Here's what holds the firing pin back, and the locking lugs are here and here. Let me show you how that looks. Alright, here's the locking lug, and there's another lug down here. As the bolt comes forward, it's going to ride on this surface right here and lock in place. And then there's a slot on the back side that also catches that lower locking lug. So I'm going to pull in the firing pin so it's not so much force, so you can just see how it comes down. And this is now in the locked position. If you cock it, still it rides in that locked position. So instead of the locking lugs being up near the breech, it's right here, almost directly over where the trigger is. All right, let's go out to the range. Okay, there's a Enfield No. 4 Mark II. I'm Sharps 1874, and I thought you might like to know.